Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BIS Hanoi Open Day today. And my name is Blair. I'm from the Admission and Marketing Department. And I would like to introduce you to our senior leadership team that are here today with us. We have our principal, Mr. Richard Vaughn. And from primary, we have Mrs. Rebecca Caro, Mrs. Lawrence Caban. And later we have Mr. Darak Sanahan, who will join us for the early years tour. And from secondary, we have Mr. Chris Newman and Miss Stephanie Mueller. And we will have our admission team today joining us later for the tour and the Q&A. We have Miss Chi, Miss Jeannie, and Miss Ha. So just to explain about today's agenda. So first you will hear from our principal, and then you will follow by a primary school overview and secondary school overview. So at the end of the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask any question you may have. So feel free to ask question even in Vietnamese or Korean, because we can help to translate if needed. And after that, we will invite you to join a school tour led by our student and our admission team. And after the tour, we would like to invite you to stay over for some coffee and tea and have a casual chat with our senior leadership team. Okay, so I think now we are ready. I would like to hand over to our principal.
I'm going to take a just. That's lovely. Good morning, everyone, and a very, very warm welcome. I'm actually mic'd up on this one, so hopefully people online and face-to-face can hear me. I'm going to take my mask off because we're a little bit distanced. Apologies for COVID. It's been a real challenge for us all, and we have to put in a few procedures in place. But I'm so delighted that we're able to, for the first time this year, welcome people physically. We have a whole group of people online with us, so we've got a hybrid this morning. But great to have you here with us in person or online this morning to have a brief insight into the life and work of BIS Hanoi. So let me share a few things with you before I hand over to my colleagues. Something really, really important to us. We're going to be bold enough to make three promises. If you're a parent here, or even if you're a child joining us, just wonderful to have either of you. Parents in particular, you've got a really important decision to make about your child or your children and their future. Parents, it's an amazing journey. I'm a parent as well. I have 2 adult children, and I know those decisions about which school are critical for their future. We believe strongly enough in our provision here, our educational provision, to say that there are 3 things that we would say are promises. The first one that I want to focus on for a moment is educational excellence. The standards of our education are really, really high, and we strive to offer a really personalised curriculum. So in other words, it's not one size that fits all. We're looking at the individual needs of all of our students, and we adapt the learning and the teaching to accommodate their needs. And so right at the core, we know the number one most important thing that you're looking for ultimately is academic standards, because it's the qualifications that our children leave our education with to move on into the next stage of their education, tertiary education, and beyond into the workplace. So that's the number one thing. But in terms of the world that we have, there are possibilities in terms of jobs and careers in the future, many of which we don't even know that exist. And so providing the ingredients to create their own future and to discover their own path and their own life is really, really important. So for us, we believe that we can provide all of those ingredients for your children to discover their own possibilities. So creating their own future, again, adapted to every individual. So we've got ingredients to put in with you, because you're already part of that journey, and working together to choose the life that they want to have. And finally, a place to belong. One of the real strengths of BIS Hanoi is our community, our sense of belonging. And we genuinely believe, and this is a sincere welcome to you, that we believe not only for our students, but for our parents and our teachers, we are genuinely a community. And it's a place that all people who are able to be and privileged to be part of our community are able to feel a sense of belonging. And also that there is a culture of serving. So it's not just about every individual, and themselves. It's actually an outward-looking organisation. And ultimately, we want children that are placed into the societies that they're going to live to make a difference. So those are 3 promises from us. Just want to briefly share a little bit about our vision and mission and values. And this is really important that I want to share. Now, every school is different. So if you're looking at different schools, what you're wanting to do as a parent is match your knowledge and understanding of your child and their needs with the potential of an organisation that you believe will provide the opportunities for them to grow and to flourish. Well, we have a vision for your children to shape a generation of creative and resilient global citizens, a generation that will change the world for the better. Again, that message not just about ourselves, but actually we're a very interconnected world, and we know that the pandemic over the last couple of years has really made us aware of that interconnectivity. So truly, we are global citizens, and just looking around at the room here today with the range of nationalities that are represented, we want to be part of that shaping, and we believe that BIS enables that. And we're also very forward thinking. So the education that we're offering is probably very different for many of you from the education that you received. And it certainly is from me, because we're constantly looking forward, and of course, we're very technologically enabled, and we're running that in hybrid today. Technology is something that we embrace here and that we utilised. We have world-class teachers, and we recruit from all over the world to provide the very best learning experiences that we can possibly have. This is something really dear to my heart as principal. This is called our aid memoir. And these essentially are a summary of our values, and values to any organisation. And in our case, our organisation is education and children and young people, but that includes parents and teachers and employees as well. We have 6 values that we want to share. 3 of them are moral characteristics and values, and 3 of them are academic, and they're really important to us. And notice the I is at the middle, and the I, though it stands for international in the acronym, is also about the individual, because every individual matters, and we want everyone to have integrity, to have respect, to have care for themselves and for others. And in terms of their academic progress, to be able to inquire, to be able to look back, to reflect, and to persevere. And perseverance during the COVID challenges that we've had during the pandemic have been so important, but working together, these are really critical for success. And of course, as an international school, we are truly global citizens, and we need to work together and partner. So again, thank you for coming today and partnering with us. Let me share a little bit more about the bigger picture, because every school offers something unique. But for BIS Hanoi, we're not just a single island on our own. Not that there's anything wrong with a school on their own, but we are actually part of a very, very big global family. We have 77 schools, sister schools, brother schools around the world in 31 different countries, and we're currently educating over 70,000 students, and we have approximately 40,000 plus, it's just over that now, staff across the world. So you can clearly see, and we're right across the continents, Antarctica not yet, but we truly have presence across the world. So we're part of a global family. Why is that important? Because it gives us opportunities, it gives us a reach and a connectivity that truly is global, and it's a real privilege. Let me share some of those opportunities that come out of this. The first one I want to mention is our link to do with STEAM. That acronym stands for Science, Technology, engineering, arts and mathematics. So we have a curriculum, we have STEAM facilities, and you'll get to see those today in both primary and secondary, but we partner with MIT in Boston in the US. So a lot of projects and activities that our students do. We connect with other schools in our family, our 77 schools, but we also connect with the team at MIT. So what a wonderful partnership that is for us. And they support our professional development and they support our students in their learning. Another partnership that we have in terms of our performing arts, and we currently offer dance and drama and music, and all of those integrated together, what we call our performing arts. We also collaborate with the Juilliard School in New York. And every year, a couple of times a year in fact, we have some of the teachers from Juilliard who come and spend time with our students and our teachers. And we use their curriculum that they have created with our curriculum, and we dovetail those together and we integrate that into our provision. So we're working in partnership with them. This is a real opportunity for us as a school. And it gives some of our students that opportunity to meet and connect with the world's very, very best. Moving on from there, and the social purpose of Nord Anglia Education and BIS Hanoi in particular is really, really important. So those values that I talked about, not just self, but other, and creating their future and contributing to things. Well, we have a partner with UNICEF. And as a group of schools, we collaborate. We're working to support the sustainable development goals that UNICEF want for societies around the world. And we're privileged enough, and you can see those goals there represented in one of our assemblies. We get our students leading and developing, and we've also had the privilege for our children and representatives chosen to actually go to New York and be part of wider debate at the UN. What a wonderful experience that is for our students, and we're able to do that every year. The pandemic has made that a little bit difficult, but we're certainly hoping that will continue this year. And let's click on to the next one. We have a truly global campus. Whilst we have, strictly speaking, we have two campuses here. We have our early years campus and we have our main campus for primary and secondary. But we, as I said, are part of 77 schools around the world, and so we connect together and we coordinate activities across the world. So it truly is a global campus. We do this both digitally and online effectively. We also do it face to face as well, and you can see some of the inter-school competitions that we have regionally and globally. We have STEAM activities, again mentioning social impact, writing competitions, performing arts competitions. We have our expeditions in both Switzerland. We have a outdoor education centre. In fact, we have two centres in Switzerland in the Alps there, and we also have one in Tanzania in Africa. Amazing opportunities for our students. And health and well-being. It's a really critical area for all of us in humanity at the moment, and the importance of embracing that and learning and working together on making sure that we have a really healthy, well-balanced global community is really, really important. So for us, here at BIS Hanoi, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you before I hand over to Mrs. Carroll, Rebecca Carroll, also affectionately known as Bex, amongst our staff, who's going to talk about the primary curriculum. And we're also going to have a secondary focus, because I know some of you have children of a very young age, some are older, and we're catering for both today. But genuinely, I want to say as principal, thank you, and for those parents who've just arrived, just another warm welcome to you, and thank you for taking the time to physically connect with us, or whether you're online and joining us for this session. It's just great to have you here, and I hope that this is informative. It gives you information and knowledge and a little bit of understanding about what we offer. But I hope for those, and it's more difficult online, it'll be easier for those of you who are face to face. I hope you get a feel for what it's like to be part of our community, because there is an emotional side to learning in terms of children. For me, one of my key objectives for our students on a day-to-day basis is that they feel happy and that they feel safe and they feel able to be themselves and to flourish into the human beings that they're capable of being. And that is genuine. And I believe we have the opportunity, we have the ingredients in order for our children truly to find themselves and discover the opportunities for themselves for the future. But I won't say too much more now, but there will also be an opportunity to meet some of our students. So rather than hearing it just from the principal, there's the opportunity to hear it from some of our students directly as well. So a big thank you to all of you. And I'm going to hand over to Bex or Rebecca Carroll. We could use either, and I'll put my mask back on. Thank you very much indeed, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, just to introduce myself, I'm the head of primary, as Richard said. I'm in the really privileged position of leading the primary school, but also having two children that come to the school. When I started working here, my children were in F1 and F3 over in our early years campus. They're now in year 2 and year 4, and they're thriving and they've settled in well, and they're doing well at school, and they're very happy here, and they've made friends. And just want to say that I understand maybe some of the anxieties that you may have as a parent choosing a school and wondering about how your children will settle in here. But hopefully, during the presentations and the information that myself and Chris share, and then meeting the students as you go round on the tour today, we will sort of put some of those anxieties to one side for you. So, as Richard said at the beginning, we've got our 3 promises. These have been distilled down a little bit more for me today for primary, because first and foremost, taking care of your child is our number 1 priority. We have children as young as 2, starting in our early years centre, and all the way up to year 6. But it doesn't matter what age they are or what experiences they've had or where they're starting with us in their journey. Our number 1 priority is keeping them safe and ensuring that they feel secure and comfortable at school, because if they don't feel safe and secure at school, then the learning won't take place. Okay, we know that they need to feel safe. They need to feel a connection to the school, to their friends, and to the environment that they're learning in before they can start to thrive. We also personalise the learning. So depending on your experience, and as Richard said as well, his education is very different to the one that we're delivering today, and that may be the same for the education that you had or the one that your children have had up to this point. It doesn't matter what your children have if they haven't been to a British international school before, because we get to know your child as an individual. We learn about their strengths, about their passions, and we personalise the learning. We know that children don't all progress at the same rate in this sort of perfect upwards trajectory. Children need time to settle. They need time to consolidate with learning, and sometimes they need support. It might be that their language isn't as developed as it needs to be, and we put that support in. It might be another area that they need support in, or what we might find is that they are strong in a particular area, and we ensure that challenge is there as well. It's not about just covering a content for a year group and ticking it off. We keep that challenge there to ensure that they're moving forward in their learning, and also we create unique opportunities. We want children to be excited about learning and to hook them in, and we do that through some of our exciting entry and exit points, and through the other sort of enriched curriculum that we offer here at BIS. Richard's already mentioned about the aid memoir, and in primary we have superheroes that connect to our aid memoir. So the children several years ago and staff got involved in a project and created these superheroes that represent the 6 core values of our aid memoir, and these are the superheroes that remind us how we need to approach learning and how we need to think about our behaviour when we're in school. We treat everyone with respect. We care for the environment, for ourselves, for others, for the school, for animals. And, you know, we show integrity, and these are the themes that run through our assemblies as well. Sometimes some of our teachers like to dress up as the superheroes and come into assembly and give messages to the children, but it just brings the values to life. And again, I know from, I was chatting to someone the other day whose daughter is in F3, and they were saying that she'd come home and she was talking about Captain Care and how that's important. So those messages that we share and those values that we instill at school, really the children live and breathe them, which is just wonderful. So you may see these superheroes as you go around the school today. So we want, as I've mentioned, we want your child to feel safe and to feel cared for and to be feel secure in their environment, because when they do, that's when they start to take risks, and we know that learning really takes off. And we nurture that, we celebrate that. So we have lots of different rewards. We have our Star of the Weeks that come out in assembly. We have our Principals Award. In the foyer downstairs, you might notice a wall with plaques of students on. And every term they get presented for outstanding effort and great attitude to learning to different children. So we really celebrate children, and it's not always about the outcome and completing something. We also celebrate the journey and the process that they go through, because we know that we learn from making mistakes, and failure helps us to learn better. So it's also about how have we learnt from the mistakes that we've made as well. Our primary school, we have wraparound care. So if you decide to send your children to our school, this is the beginning of the partnership. What we have in common is that we both want the same thing for your child. We want them to be happy at school. We want them to thrive at school. And the only way the best way that works is if we work together. So we work with you to support your child. We invite you in. It isn't that you meet us on the first day and then never see us again until the end of the year. We welcome parents coming into the school campus. And I'm just delighted that we can all be doing this face to face, because 6 weeks ago we wouldn't have been able to invite parents in. And it's wonderful now that you get to see the school with the students in and see that learning in action. But also we welcome your feedback. We're not the perfect school. I don't know if that exists at all. I imagine it doesn't. But we want to hear from you. So if there's an issue with your child, or you've got questions about your child's learning, or you feel we can help you in another way, we want to listen to that. We don't take your feedback negatively. We don't take it as criticism. We want to learn. We are all here for the children and to ensure that they can do the best possible. So again, in our lessons, we differentiate the learning to challenge and support the children. For children who are new to English, we have an EAL programme, which is English as an additional language, and that offers extra support so that they can start building their English language skills to then be able to access the curriculum in the mainstream classroom. And we also want to sort of develop that curiosity, that inquiry in our students, so that they have that passion for learning and that sort of embed those lifelong learning skills in our students. This is a little overview of what the primary school curriculum looks like. So we use the English national curriculum for English, maths and science. And when I talk about English, that would include reading and writing and speaking and listening. And then we use the international primary curriculum for PSHE, which is our social and emotional curriculum for geography, history, design and technology and art. And the reason that we do that is that we understand we are a school in Vietnam with a range of nationalities and learners in our schools, and we want to personalise and contextualise the learning. I don't see the value of children here in our school learning historical facts about kings and queens in England. It's not relevant. So we look at how we can connect the learning to the context that we are in. And we also have a language programme as well. So our non-Vietnamese children learn Vietnamese, and they start with beginner Vietnamese, but they're also learning about the culture here in Vietnam and festivals such as Moon Festival and Tet and different traditions, because it's really important that our non-Vietnamese children get to learn about our host nation, that we're the country that we're in, and learn to understand more about this wonderful country. And also for our Vietnamese students, they have first language Vietnamese. And we also have MFL. So the children in primary will have French and Spanish as a modern foreign language. And then when they go to year 5, they choose that language. So they decide then, or you decide with them, whether they want to continue with French or Spanish, and they would take that up into the secondary school. This is our IPC curriculum, our International Primary Curriculum. So it's thematic units that have an entry point, which is a hook into the learning, and then the children learn a variety of skills and knowledge through that topic, and it's celebrated with a showcase of what they've learned at the end in what we call an exit point. As you can see, the children might dress up for an event. We always encourage parents to come in, and it's really sort of igniting that excitement in learning and engaging our students and hooking them in. I'm really proud that during the virtual school period, we were still able to have these entry and exit points. So you'll get a letter, you might get a letter a few weeks before an entry point saying, we'd love you to come in, your children are going to be dressing up as pirates because it's the start of their topic, or whatever it is. And then at the end, we invite you back in, and the children talk to you about their learning. So they're sharing what they've learned through this journey with you. And that's really powerful, because it really connects you with your child's learning. As I said, this is the beginning of the journey and the partnership. And what we ensure that we do is that we deliver workshops for parents so that you can better understand our curriculum. So in early years, we run workshops on the importance of play and how play is the foundation of the early years curriculum. But also we've run workshops on e-safety, keeping the children safe online, on phonics and reading, and all different areas of the curriculum, so you get to better understand how you might support your child at home, and also just have a better understanding of what they're learning. We also invite parents in, so we might have a focus on reading, and you can come into the lesson and just see what a reading lesson looks like, or a writing lesson, or a maths lesson. So there are lots of opportunities during the academic year for you to come in and learn more about the school life for your child and the curriculum. But also, if you have questions, it's not just at scheduled points, but if you have questions at any other point, we are always welcome those, and we'll invite you in to have a chat. And you're going to meet some of our student leaders today. In the primary school, we have a primary student council, and we also have a secondary student council, and we have house captains. So we create leadership opportunities for our students to empower them to sort of have a voice in the school, to make changes and look at how we can improve the school for them. And also to give them opportunities for leadership. So you can see them here, they were running an assembly. This was the Year 6 house captains interviewing for their roles, because we take it very seriously. So they have to decide why they want to be a leader and what skills they think they've got. And here's another group of our student leaders from a couple of years ago. But we've got some Year 6 students over here that will take you around the primary school today. And finally, just wanted to mention our extracurricular activities programme. This runs at the end of the school day. So in addition to the sort of enriched curriculum during the school day, we also have extracurricular activities that run from 3 till 4 o'clock after school during the week. And I think at the moment we're at about 75 or 80 ECAs being offered for students. But when we're able to invite external providers in, that number exceeds 100. There is a huge range of opportunities from choir to kickboxing, fencing, all sorts of sports and different activities for the children to engage in. And it's really nice. Sometimes they're following their passion. If they're already in a swimming program, they're joining an ECA that helps them develop those skills and as a swimmer potentially, or sometimes it's about trying new things, and so they get to taste what is come to the library club or go to a coding club, and they start to learn and try new things, which opens them up to many more opportunities. I hope that gives you a flavour of what life is like in the primary school and our curriculum. As we said earlier, we are more than happy to answer any questions, and you'll learn more about the primary school and the early years centre on the tour. But just wanted to say thank you for your time today, and I'll introduce and hand over to Chris Newman, our Head of Secondary. Thank you. Oh, and Steph Miller as well.
Good morning, everyone. Just really delighted to be able to talk to you a little bit about the secondary school today. We won't cover it all, but just to give you a flavour, and I have Steph Miller, who's the Deputy Head of School, with me as well to talk about the curriculum. But from my perspective, being actually new this year to the school, I've been really impressed with if you just maybe go back one, thanks. Really impressed with the quality of the teachers here. I think what you'll find coming into the secondary school is how much the teachers care, the level of expertise, and the high quality teaching and learning that happens in the classrooms. You'll also find, I think, and hopefully you'll find today, that the facilities are of a really high quality as well, and the envy of many schools in the region too. So I hope you'll enjoy that aspect of the tour today. There are also really great opportunities for your children to do things outside of the classroom. There are wonderful leadership opportunities. We've just actually appointed a new group of student leaders here in the school, and you'll meet a couple of them a bit later on. But there's also lots of opportunities in the sports and the arts, in service, in a whole range of different areas in the school. So you'll find that, and it's a real feature of our school. And finally, just to talk a little bit about the curriculum and the teaching and learning, and Steph will go into a bit more detail, but we really do think we have some of the best programs in the world. The International Baccalaureate is the most robust matriculation that's available globally. It is a really, really good and rigorous program. And we really believe in it, and all of our teaching and learning in the secondary school is designed to lead up to success in the International Baccalaureate program. It's supported by the IGCSE, which is a British curriculum as well. You know, this week we've had our reaccreditation with the Council of International Schools. They've been to visit us and to learn more about our school. And as part of that process, we've talked to students and parents. And the students are telling us really clearly how much they value the great teaching and learning that's going on in the classroom. They've all said they wouldn't change anything, is what they've told us this week in the school. And they are also highlighting the wonderful opportunities available in the school. So all of that leads to a really great set of results, and we're really proud of our results. They are really up there with some of the best schools in the world, and we're really proud of that. And I think all of the things that I've talked about help to support the excellent set of results. So thank you, and it's really nice to meet you. If you are interested in secondary school, if you have any questions at all, you're always welcome to contact me with any questions that you have. So thank you. I'm going to hand over to Steph, and I'm going to come back in a minute to talk about wellbeing.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm just going to unpick what our learning looks like in secondary and what our kind of flight path, as Chris has mentioned, up towards the IB. So if your child starts with us in year 7, I'm just going to show you what that will look like in terms of their learning over a 7-year programme. So as Chris has mentioned, the learning in secondary culminates in the IBDP. We also offer something called the BIS diploma, which is a little bit more specialised and relevant to the child. And that encompasses 6 academic subjects and the IB core, which makes up the IB programme. And this is the pathway begins in years 7, 8 and 9 with that. And similarly to primary, we have a curriculum that's inspired by the British National Curriculum, but really supported by lots of the partnerships that we have here at the school. So our performing arts curriculum is one of the best and is supported by Juilliard. And in addition, to our work with CIS this week, we've also had visitors virtually from Juilliard that have been working with our teachers and students, making sure they're giving them opportunities that are outside of Vietnam as well. Chris has also mentioned that in the middle, for Key Stage 4, so years 10 and 11, we have our Cambridge IGCSE programme, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that on the next couple of slides. But one of the fundamentals within this is that we have these 3 subjects, science, maths and English, which we regard as being core subjects, but we're really committed also to developing the child's mother tongue language. So we have provision in school to support Vietnamese and Korean throughout our curriculum. We have students that work with a Japanese tutor online, but then we also support other mother tongue languages as well. And we have that provision both in the timetable and we're willing to support that. One thing that's really important to us, and Richard Vaughan has already mentioned this morning, is making sure that students are not only academically successful, but also that they are prepared for a 21st century. And we all know that that looks a little bit different to the world that we entered post-education. And for lots of us, the way in which technology is pushing us forward means that we're not quite sure what it looks like. So research tells us that the skill development of your child is as important as their academic ability too. And at each of these milestones, we have skills that we are looking to develop to make sure that they are effective communicators, to make sure that they have an understanding and a global perspective across the world, to make sure that they're reflective, that they're critical thinkers, but also that they are willing to take risks. A good student might methodically work their way through information and kind of take it on passively, but a student that's really engaged will challenge and question and continue to learn more about that topic and kind of go beyond the curriculum. And that is our expectation, and that's how and why we build these skills to support them. We have the same in years 10 and 11, and then that's supported at the end by the IB learner profile, which again kind of underpins all of the academic work within it. And at Key Stage 3, we assess students within these skills as well. So 1/3 of the assessment opportunities for students in years 7, 8 and 9 is their academic focus in each subject. And then the other 2/3 are focused around these skills, making sure that we're also showcasing to students the importance of them. Here I've just broken down the different timetables for each of the year groups. So on this side of the screen, you'll see how many times and how each student visits a subject per fortnight. So our timetable operates over 2 weeks. So for example, students over 2 weeks, so 4 times per week, will visit science, maths and English and see those teachers in those areas. A couple of things I wanted to highlight to you on the year 7, 8 and 9 curriculum is STEAM, and we've spoken about our partnership with MIT, but in Key Stage 3 they also have once a week or twice over a 2-week period a dedicated STEAM lesson which brings together 5 different subjects and the learning from it. And quite often in those lessons students are working in our secondary makerspace, which you'll see as part of the tour today, but they're responding to briefs that have been set by MIT that are global issues that they're trying to solve and navigate by combining the skills from each of the 5 subjects. Another area which Chris will talk to you about later is our wellbeing curriculum. We also offer modern foreign languages, but for those students that are requiring EAL support, they don't embark on that until we feel they have a proficient language level to access the curriculum in full. On this half of the screen is our years 10 and 11 curriculum, and we've recently reviewed this for students entering this next year. We want to build a little bit more autonomy for students and ensure that they are creating a curriculum that will help them in their future. So at the top, these boxes here are subjects that all students will study. And in this bottom section, students choose between students select 3 of these subjects. And at the time of picking those, we talk to them about the IB programme and beyond, and we support them through that decision making to ensure that they have a really strong foundation for success in the future. And then finally, another area that we've looked to review this year is opening up even more our IB curriculum offer. So we've added quite a few subjects this year. You'll notice if you've seen this before that we've got some additional subjects in the sciences and in languages. And we've also offered greater opportunity in our group 6 offering as well. And it just provides us with an opportunity to ask students exactly what they want from this curriculum, and then we design our model around their choices. And on the other side of the screen, you can just see the breakdown and what that looks like, again, over a 2-week period. And then finally, beyond our school and beyond our curriculum, we have a dedicated university counsellor who will support students through their university process, but he also works with younger students to make sure that they're starting to think about their journey. And we're really committed to ensuring that the journey towards university or an alternative place beyond our school is personalised to the student. But just so you're aware, approximately 65% of our students are now attending universities in North America, and about 30% over the last few years have been attending UK-based universities. And we feel that that's not only the kind of academic standard that they leave with us, but also the support that we are providing to help them to get there. I'm going to hand back to Chris now.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. So that's the curriculum and the way we approach our teaching and learning. I just wanted to quickly say that it's not just about the classroom. It's also about the work that happens around the classroom and in other areas of the school. So we also are looking after the well-being of your child. We're also looking after the social and emotional development of children as well. So we have, Steph, if you wouldn't mind, yeah, we have a structure which enables us to provide that support. So timetabled lessons every week where we're talking about social and emotional development, and every child has a form tutor that they get to know really, really well and meet with every single day, all supported by really robust safeguarding and child protection procedures as well. And just to the next slide, I think. And just our form tutors, we really believe that every member of staff is responsible for providing that level of care and support for every child. And the form tutor is the person who leads on that. And it's their job to really get to know your child and to support them in their journey and in their learning. So I think that's it from me. We're moving to Q&A now. Blair, is it over to you?
So we have now a few questions that submitted from the registered family. So I will invite to answer some of the questions. And after that, I mean, we open to any question that you might have here.
Yes. So is it possible for my child who's at a local public school to catch up with the international curriculum? Yes. Yes, absolutely. We can support your child to come into our school and get up to speed with that curriculum. There's no problems there at all. My child's first language is English. Her Vietnamese is limited. It should be the other way around. This language is Vietnamese.
Not, I guess it might be.
Okay. It might be the other way around.
Yeah.
It might be. I think it should be my child's first language is Vietnamese. Her English is very limited. Can she receive proper support to catch up with the educational program? Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
in both ways.
Either way.
So if your we do have children who are Vietnamese but haven't been in a Vietnamese school system, and so haven't had that sort of formal education in Vietnamese. And so our Vietnamese teachers would also support them and ensure that there's catch up there if it was for Vietnamese language, and yes, definitely for English as well, through our EAL programme.
Steph, do you want to do the textbook one?
Yeah.
It's your favourite topic.
It's my favourite topic. It's my favourite topic because we regularly get asked about textbooks. And Bex touched on this in her presentation, but we're really committed to making sure that our teaching and learning provision is personalised. So what we don't do is kind of work through a textbook page by page. We make sure that every student comes with us, and that might look differently. So they might be working through different resources, but they won't all necessarily be progressing in the same way. We do have access to a platform called Cognity, which is a digital textbook, which actually begins to kind of shape itself based on the progress that each student is making. But and that's supported by lots of other digital platforms that we've seen really increase during virtual school, and that's actually a really positive takeaway from being virtual, is that we can now access lots of different platforms to support student learning. But kind of paper-based textbooks are starting to reduce and be seen a lot less in schools that are really committed to kind of academic success. So it will look a little bit different if that's what you're... Yeah.
We also have in primary, we have online platforms to support the children at home. So we have a reading platform called Book Club. That's an online programme, and the teachers will allocate books for the children, and we have Epic and other reading platforms. We also have a maths online programme called My Maths, which the children can practice concepts on at home that they've learnt in class. And we also have the number one favourite of the children's, TT Rockstars. It's a times tables programme where the children work to improve their speed and accuracy with the times tables and division facts.
I love TT Rockstars, personally. Do you want me to do the next one as well, Chris?
Thanks, Steph.
So I mentioned the way that we assess in Key Stage 3. We understand that the endpoint, so IB and IGCSE, require students to be prepared for formal examinations, but it's not our only assessment style. So throughout the course, we do prepare them and ensure that they are ready for that endpoint. But teachers will carry out lots of different assessments. And many of our courses now don't just end in a formal examination. Lots of students might have a speaking assessment. They might have to complete coursework over a long period of time. And so there's lots of different ways that we practice showing learning and demonstrating learning, but also that we assess your student or your child. And I think that's probably in both areas the same.
In primary, so we will assess the children at the point of entry to get an understanding of where they're at and where their strengths lie in English and maths, but also at the start of every topic and through the lessons as well. The teachers assess the children, because we don't want to be teaching them something that they already know and understand. We want to make sure that they're moving forward with their learning. But we do have, from year 2 upwards, we have a computerised assessment annually, which is our INCAS assessments, and we do an end of year summative test in year 3 to 6 as well. But we do report as well. So in December we would send you a report about the children's attainment and progress, and we do that again in the summer. In the early years, in F1, 2 and 3, it's a little bit different because children can make a huge leap in maybe 2 or 3 months. So our reporting is a bit different. We report more frequently to parents because of the milestones that they go through. Just moving on to the student-teacher ratio. In the primary school, we have 1 teacher and 1 teaching assistant. So we have 2 adults in every classroom, and 24 students is our cap. In F1, we have a maximum of 20 students in a class, but we would then have 4 adults. And in F2, we have 22 students, and we have 2 teaching assistants and a teacher. So we have 3 adults. Because of the age of the children, the ratios are higher for the adult to pupil ratio.
Yeah, and in secondary we work on a 1 to 24 maximum, But as we go through the school, so once you get to IB, because of the breadth of the curriculum, student numbers in classes can become a lot lower. So on average this year, our IB classes are around 12 to 14 as an average across the subject. Are there any subjects that are taught in Vietnamese in the secondary section? Vietnamese only. We aren't a bilingual school, and so we don't have any additional subjects that are taught in Vietnamese, and the same for primary as well. Where do most students go to when they start universities? This is something that I mentioned in the presentation. So about 65% of them are going to North American universities at the moment, and about 30% are going to the UK-based universities, and we're talking
the rest.
Yeah.
And the final one is about just specifically to someone's child who was born in November and would be going into year one. There is nothing that you need to do to prepare for an assessment, and it's not, and the way our assessment process works in school as well, it's not that we expect the children to cram and study and revise for the assessments. We're just using it to inform our teaching. So we assess your child at point of entry, we find out what they already know and where we're going to start and how we personalise that learning for them. So there's nothing to prepare, or we just want to see them. And at year one and in F3 and the younger years, what we do is we invite them into the classroom as part of the assessment process. So we let them have some time in the classroom to play and see how they interact. And for our young ones, sometimes it's quite daunting saying goodbye to mum or dad and just seeing how they feel and how they assimilate into that environment. So yeah, nothing to prepare for the application process. Any other questions? I'm sort of conscious we've all been sitting for a while, so we're getting ready to move on.
We may need to move on to the tours, and perhaps
I think,
after we can do some questions.
We can move on to the school tour. And at the end of the school tour, if you have any question, you can just we have a mingle session whereby you can just have a chat with our senior leadership team again, and also admission team if you have any question and answer. So now, for the school tour, we will have 3 different tours. For the early years center, which is in a different campus, we will be having a tour leading by Mr. Darak Sanahan. And the primary tour, we will have our house captain from primary year 6 today.
Come up, guys.
They've been waiting to show you guys around primary school.
They're so
And also
proud.
Secondary school, we have 2 year 12 students will be leading you and tour around the secondary school.
So if you have children in the F1, F2, F3 or year 1, if you want to go with Dara, he will take you over to the early years centre and show you around the early years centre. Do you want to? Yeah, if you go first, Dara, and then if anybody would like to see that early years. And then if you are year 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6, if you want to come over here, we'll set you off with our house captains to go on a tour around. And